Alright, so I decided that we're gonna go back into this game because I haven't touched this game since the second video I did on it. Um, but I think from now on we're gonna be doing some gaming videos. Like, it won't replace the meme content that comes out every week. But this will be out. I doubt many people will watch it. Oh, because you guys never watch my gaming videos. I don't really care, but this time I really don't care if you don't watch, because, and like I said, yeah, this shouldn't replace, but I mean, if anything, this is more of a backup in case I get lazy and don't want to do a video, because these are easier to record. But alright, we're just gonna start a new one here, so see if I can do voices. Name. Well, what name shall we go? Let's do this. One. Color. Gray. Is that? Oh. Wait. Oh, okay, I see now. What looks best? Yellow. Yeah. Alright, user profile to confirm. Before we start, please review the following information. Use left click and okay, this is tutorial. Click space. Right click brings up menu. F toggles full screen. Use mouse wheel page up. Rewind. Oh. Hold control. Press tab to skip some messages. S take a screen. Oh, S is quick switch. Okay. No clicker H hide. Okay. Neato petito. The year is 20XX. Only recently has humanity discovered a portal which leads to a different world populated with a race of intelligent talking dragons. I was one of the few to travel to this world. But maybe I should start at the beginning. It all began when we discovered a strange device in the middle of nowhere during one of our expeditions. A portal. I had heard about similar technology before, though that had been more on an experimental. From what I knew, other portals had been recently created in the past and were under consideration for mass application. As for this one in particular, though, we did not know who had built it, nor when, or why we found it in the wilderness where we did. What was more exciting to us was the fact that it was functional. After our first tests, we found there was someone else on the other side who was in possession of a similar portal, and our attempts at communication through letters were successful. But in the end, the machine's extraordinary demand for power meant we need to act quickly, as we wouldn't be able to keep the portal open. Open much longer. When we made this known to the other side, we received a very unexpected reply. A letter of invitation. After some deliberation, it was decided to accept their hospitality and send a person to the other side. There was an individual who took the job almost immediately. Mexican man. Reza Izquierdo. Isn't that, like, left? Or is that right? I think that's right. I don't know. I knew him, or rather, had known him. We attended the same school back then, and even had a few classes together. We never really were close friends, but we talked to each other occasionally, and hung around the same crowd sometimes. However, we still went our separate ways in the end. I wasn't sure what to think about the whole thing, but he had to have known what he was doing. He was certainly brave. Either that, or just very, very foolish. While I wasn't sure which, his courage was applauded by others. After all, he couldn't possibly have known who or what would await him on the other side of the portal. And if he did meet someone there, who knew what kinds of intentions they might have. Not that any speculation on our part would have made a difference. When the day finally came through, he went, with applause echoing across the area. Equipped with only the clothes he wore, his multi-tool, a gun, and a device on his wrist that acted as a PDA. What's a multi-tool? Then we waited. The crowd that was applauding him slowly dispersed when the enthusiasm died down, as there was nothing for us to do but wait and speculate. Approximately 8 hours later, we received our first message from him. While we had assumed the portal led to another... While we had assumed the portal led to another in a different country, or maybe on a different continent, the reality turned out to be much more foreign. I think if this portal was very important, then it'd be, if someone was also having the portal going on in a different country, they would know about that? The situation he described to us was so outlandish that we initially took it as a joke. A very bad joke, maybe, with even worse timing and no punchline at all. It soon came clear to us, though, that we may just have made one of the most important discoveries since the dawn of mankind. Finding the portal had been remarkable in itself, but this took it to a completely different level. From what he described about this place, or more accurately, its inhabitants, we surmised it could not be a part of Earth at all. We called them dragons because, according to Reza, that's what they were, or at least that's what they resembled most. Even though we found it hard to believe, it had been these dragons who sent us all the letters, and what Reza found on the other side of the portal was a whole civilization of them. They could talk, write books, had buildings and electricity. In many ways, the society was actually very similar to our own. So who were they? And where was this place? Could they be aliens? Our speculation led us to conclude otherwise. After all, we knew about the existence of thousands of planets, millions of light years away, that may have been theoretically habitable. Yet, even then, we had never found conclusive proof in regards to actual alien life forms. Some people brought up quantum mechanics and parallel universes, but in the end, all of this was just conjecture and ultimately fruitless endeavor, since we neither had the means nor the resources to explore these possibilities in greater detail. I think there's just one more thing worth mentioning before I move on. The previous isolation had been mutual. They hadn't known about any other intelligent life form beyond their own. Their portal had only recently been discovered and was a technology previously unknown to them, and just as we had myths about dragons, they had myths about us. That was what we knew about them so far, and as interesting as we... Okay, I can read. And as interesting as learning those things and debating their cultural significance was, we didn't really know what we should make of it all. Reza apparently was sure of what he was doing, though, and he eventually let us know that they had agreed on a trade. We were to give them a few of our PDA devices, which contained vast amounts of knowledge, dwarfing even that of encyclopedias. Well, I mean, if, like, encyclopedia is just all the words in English, so I mean, if you include all the words in English, and then not all the words in English, but just all the words in your language, if you add one more thing, then you're bigger than an encyclopedia. In return, they would supply us with generators. Overall, they didn't seem as technologically advanced as we have been, but they did surpass us in that one aspect. Their means of generating energy seemed sustainable. Not only that, but evidently also quite efficient. We certainly would be able to put technology like that to good use, and trading near past knowledge of human race for something more tangible was a good call on his part. That was where I came in. My prior experience in both biology and sociology made me a good fit to deliver our PDA devices for the trade. And while in the Dragon's world, waiting for the prototypes of our generators to be manufactured by them, I would act as an ambassador on humanity's behalf. What a way to make a first impression by a display of mutual goodwill. Everyone benefits and everyone goes home happy. All is well. At least that was the plan. Despite the images that living, talking dragons conjure up in some people's minds, I didn't think of bringing you up for myself, considering they were reportedly friendly and peaceful enough. There was no need for me to fear potential ill intentions like Reza did when he had stepped into unknown territory and acting as humanity's ambassador. I had to do my best to uphold a high standard in fostering this diplomatic relationship. When the time came for me to step through the portal, all my mental preparedness vanished. My anxiousness was fueled by all the questions working in my head, just as the machine started to do its work. Would it hurt? Who would I meet on the other side? What if they were real? What if they really weren't so friendly and just made Reza write those letters with the pretense of appearing friendly, only to lure us in the den of man-eating monsters and certain doom, with us ending up as nothing more than a tasty afternoon snack? Maybe I should have brought a weapon after all. Suddenly, I felt a shiver coursing through my whole body and beyond. My whole body and beyond, and when I disintegrated, as if every cell, every atom of my body was torn from me and pulled into a different direction. Okay. I saw darkness and light, painting patterns in the stars as they traveled, and images rapidly flashed before me of things unseen and unspoken. Both horrifying and beautiful, it was an experience unlike any other, yet over in just a split second. Then it was dark. I could only see a patch of lighter color contrasting with its dark surrounding, and my vision started to clear. Its edges got sharper as the patch of light slowly took shape, giving me the distinguished outline of a reptilian head and an array of horns spouting from it. It was a dragon, and as I could see, a dragon who had not only a pair of round glasses, but also wore a burgundy tie around its neck. That looks like two bands of I don't know what is the gray here, because that shouldn't be connected to the tie. I don't know. Oh, voices. Oh, how should I do voices? Alright. I can't do voices. Alright, you know what? I'm gonna give them no. Should I? Yes. In the name of our people, I bid you welcome. If I may introduce myself, I am Ruby, your guide and ambassador, a representative of our council. The dragon spoke. It was one thing to have heard and read about this, but something else entirely to have one standing in front of me, in flesh and blood and tongue. It was all good that all my mental preparedness had disappeared when I was teleported, because nothing could have prepared me for this. Sorry, I imagine you might still feel the effects of teleportation. Drowsiness or weakness is not unusual, as is fainting and spontaneous emptying of your bowels. Bladder or stomach? How do you feel? Rendered speechless, I had totally forgotten that I was shouldering the burden of representing my people to them as well. So much for being professional, but at least he gave a good excuse for my blunder. I think I'm alright. Well, I'm glad to hear it. Maybe we should go before it gets too dark. Come with me, please. So I followed the dragon, not straying too far from him, as the sun had already departed for the day, and the remaining light diminished by the minute. It's getting hard to see where I'm going. Sorry about that, but we had a good reason to schedule your arrival like this. We did not want you to be ambushed by a crowd, so we had to keep your exact time and date of arrival secret. Thanks. I suppose an event like this would make me a celebrity of sorts. It would be the same if one of you came to us. That is quite an understatement. Wait. Yeah, that's quite an understatement. Some people here are rather superstitious. They might regard you or any of your kind as divine, I suppose. Really? How so? We do have certain myths that involve humans, and as such. Oh, I suppose history lesson will have to wait another time. Here we are. I don't think this voice fits him. I don't know. By this point, it had gotten so dark that we could barely make out the building before us. I briefly wondered whether they might have street lights elsewhere, or if they just did not require any due to possible enhanced eyesight or night vision. I could vaguely see the dragon, his light colors still visible within the blackness of Gulf area. Rear up, and manipulated the door handle with one of his footballs. I wonder how big they are compared to like humans. Are they like human size? Because then they're kind of small. Hinges creaking, the door opened, and with a flick of a switch, the apartment was flooded with light, blinding me after all the time we had just spent without it. This is where you'll live for the time being. It is fully stocked, but in case you need anything else, I left the note with a few phone numbers. It is getting rather late, so I will have to take my leave now. In any case, someone will come and meet you tomorrow morning. Thank you, Remy. Have a good night. Until we meet again. With a nod, Remy left the apartment, mindful enough to close the door behind himself. Surveying the room, I considered the events that had just transpired as my gaze at the window. I could see outside for a moment, and as I drew near, startled, I could hear footsteps in the grass moving away quickly. Assuming it must have been the dragon I just met, I thought nothing of it, as I went to bed and slowly succumbed to the sweet allure of sleep overdue. I spent a few moments thinking about my role, my mission, and what it meant to be here now. I felt responsibility was on my shoulders. I was eager for the adventure to come. So many possibilities and prospects raced through my mind. Truth be told, the thought of being able to meet an entirely new species and civilization excited me, as I was going to be one of the first to truly experience their society with its own little quirks, differences, and similarities. I couldn't help but feel some sort of modern Vasco da Gama or Marco Polo. Who? Wait, was Marco Polo? Didn't Marco Polo like just kind of walk along the Silk Road and was like a big silk trader? I don't know. Maybe I would even write a book about the whole experience after it's all over. I was sure it would become a hit, all things considered. At any rate, this is going to be fun.